My name's Tony Blodgett. I'm going to be your host today and every episode. And today I have the great pleasure of having a conversation with my good friend, Dan Keller. And Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Following Addy, jeez. I mean,
he's the godfather of podcasting at this
yeah,
point.
I gotta up my game today.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is going to be a great, fun conversation. Me and Dan go way back, and I'm very fortunate to have Dan made a career change just a few months ago and chose to come join me here.
Come back
to New American Funding. This is the third time me and Dan have worked together. The third time's a charm, as they say. But this time it's a little bit different because, Dan has been through a journey over his career. I would say Dan is one of the, top performing mortgage advisors in our area for sure, probably throughout the country. And a lot of that has come through his commitment to coaching. So today we're going to talk a little bit about coaching, not just what it's done for Dan's career, what it can do for any mortgage professional who chooses to professionally get coached, but also a little bit about what Dan's doing for our team here at New American Funding, which is also, benefiting Dan in the way that he gets to really live into one of his passions, which is coaching, training, and taking what he's learned and passing it on to other people. Yeah. So maybe, Dan, just start with telling us a little bit about your story. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go back to, there was a time where Dan Keller was, just doing a couple loans a month, right? I mean, you were struggling like so many loan officers in today's market to have consistency in your business. And I think after talking with you, it really came through getting involved with coaching that brought that consistency. So maybe talk about, what led to that and kind of your version of that kind of first introduction into coaching.
Yeah, what led to it was I was in an office with people that were making a lot of money and closing a lot of loans, and I'm competitive, right? I'm a former college and pro athlete, and then also I coached, baseball at a very high level at the college level. And so the competitive nature in me was like, hey, they're doing it better than I am. They're no different than me. And I know how to work hard. So let me figure this thing out. My problem was, and I think this is a problem we see in this industry, is everybody wants success. And you've heard it both ways, but some aren't willing to put in the work that others have put in to achieve that success. But more so, I think everyone wants to succeed. I think every single one of your loan officers that come in the office every single day here, Tony, and they sign up for your coaching and they're on our coaching calls, they're there for a reason. I mean, you had Todd Duncan on the other day and it was packed. All of your loan officers showed up for a reason. They want to get better. I think the gap in our industry and in real estate is there's not enough people down in the trenches with me, with the loan officers going, I understand the objections that you're getting. I understand the marketing questions that you have. I understand the team building questions that you have. And so I saw these other loan officers building teams and growing and producing these numbers. And I was closing 3 or 4 loans a month and having a good life. And certainly I loved the fact that when I got in the mortgage industry, you get paid nicely. So closing 3 loans a month compared to, and only having to work 40 or 50 hours a week compared to college baseball coaching where I'm on the road all the time and I'm working 100 hours a week. It was great for me, but I always wanted more. And I just kind of swam upstream for my first 4 years in the industry. Then I met you. You introduced me to Todd Duncan and Sales Mastery, and I got my first taste of coaching. And it changed my life, and then having that accountability in the office as well. So when I talk about coaching, I talk about 2 things. You've got to have good, relevant, in the trenches instruction. Like the thing about some coaches out there nowadays is they're not originating. And that's what makes me unique. Like I don't ever see myself being a coach and not originating or managing a branch. Okay. When I get to that point in my career, 5 or 10 years from now, Tony, I'll be a speaker and it'll be more about influence. It'll be more about inspiration and motivation, but it won't be tactical. The thing I love about the coaches that I have right now and where I'm at with your company, with New American Funding in your region, I'm in the trenches as a top performer, teaching what helped get me here and then what I'm doing every single day. And so I think that's really big. And then you mentioned it a few minutes ago, consistency. I think so many loan officers get hyped up with coaching, or they read a book, or like us, just as men, we want to go on a diet and we get pumped up to go on a diet and it's good for a week. And then our friends in town like Addie is last night, and we end up going out and having a couple of beers and a pizza, and next thing you know, there goes the diet, right? So it's now consistency is big, but I think accountability is even bigger. We all want to have that nice beach body. We all want to have a nice full pipeline. But what keeps us from achieving that? And I think the biggest thing, and I know this from a fact being in the trenches, it's accountability.
Yeah. Well, I love that. So so really, I think there's a couple components when it comes to coaching. And what I think about is there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, right? So if you don't know what to do to go out and get the business, odds are someone has that formula for you, right? They can teach you that formula. It's not rocket science. Like you said, you saw others doing it. You're like, I can do that too. So I think that's the first thing that you're going to get out of coaching is you're going to plug into somebody who, and I don't care where you get your coaching, but you're going to plug into a system that says, these are the things that you need to do. And if you do them, we can show through results, you're going to be successful. Yeah. But the next piece, and I think the critical piece, is doing that stuff consistently and then having that level of accountability. And I think you're right. That is where it's cemented. And there are some people, I think, that you can give them the education and they're hard enough on themselves. They're disciplined enough themselves that they can have some level of success with it. But I'll be honest with you, I can't think of a $200 million producer, someone doing 500 units a year that isn't in some sort of a system that requires pretty significant amounts of accountability.
Yeah, so you just hit it right on the head. So you've heard of the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Right.
That doesn't mean that on December 30th, we take 364 vitamins or we eat 364 apples, right?
Right.
What it means is little steps every single day. One apple a day, one multivitamin a day keeps the doctor away. And so it's the same thing in our business. We need to understand this as loan officers, that consistency beats intensity. Consistency beats intensity. So don't try to call 40 realtors on Monday like a certain coach might say. Call 10, call 5, hell, call 2. Right. You call 2 realtors every single day. That's 10 a week times 52 weeks a year. That's the power of compounding. So it's just so important that I think LOs, they get fired up and they want to go do this thing. It's too intense. Yeah. Consistency beats intensity. And if you can subscribe to that with a little bit of accountability and instruction, that's the key components to you interview any top producer. We just do things every single day that 99% of the other LOs just don't do. Period. Yeah. And our days are a little bit more structured. 2 hours of my day is super structured. That's what I've committed to over the last 5 years, and it's changed my life.
Just 2 hours a day.
2 hours. It's called a power hour. You've heard of it. Every coach has talked, you got to do your power hour. Put a sign on your door. I don't put a sign on my door. Hell, I leave my door open because I want my loan officers and my team hearing me. But 2 hours a day, a minimum of 2 hours a day, focused on Monday, call your realtors. Tuesday, do status update calls. Wednesday, call your leads and pre-approvals. And it's just, you're focused. And then every single week you get better. Like I'm getting a little bit better calling my realtors. So this week, instead of just kind of phoning it in and calling them, I'm having a deeper call, a better call.
Well, I was in your office just earlier today, and you have your call tracker right there in front of you.
Imagine
it was filled up for the first 2 days, and it was Wednesday, and you were about halfway
done,
you know?
And we're halfway through the day. It was noon.
Yeah. So look, you're living it every day. There's like I said, success leaves results. There's a path to make this happen, and I love it. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing here at New American Funding, because when we reconnected, you said, look, I think I might, look to make a move with the company. I mean, you were looking for the operations piece, right? You worked here before. You know how our operations team is. It's something we get praised for all the time. I always say it's our secret sauce. At the end of the day, you can do all the fancy things you want for loan officers. You can have the best rates in the world, but if you can't close loans on time and do it smooth in a way that isn't running you or your team ragged, well, then, you're not doing anything well. And that's the one part that I know that we do really, really well. But you also said to me, I want to do more than that. You know, I have my team. I'm going to do my 150, 200 million, whatever it is the Keller team's goal is for 2022. But I want to do more. And so we talked about bringing you in a role where you could provide coaching. And I'm passionate about coaching myself. I've been coached, individually as a producer and executive coaching now that I've been on this kind of side of the business for a while. And I know that it has results. But one of the challenges with coaching is the student has to want it, right? I mean, you sign up for coaching. You can't just, in many cases, give coaching away. So this is a challenge that you and I, have to tackle as we think about how do we, bring Dan Keller in to our region, provide coaching when we know that not everyone wants coaching. So it's got to be an opt-in kind of a thing. But maybe talk a little bit about, what you're doing with the coaching. And I have to imagine, Dan, only because I've been in this seat, that when you're teaching, when you're having to lead by example, I bet you it helps you up your game as well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so when you are coaching and you're teaching, it goes back to like the coach that I have today, the coaches that I have today are better branch managers than I am, better regional managers than I am, better loan officers and better leaders than I am. And so but they're doing it, and we have numbers to compare, and we have stories to compare. And so I think that's so important. I think something that's really important that you have to understand about coaching and what we're doing here at NAF is there's also an old saying that says, and I know you have a boat and you're down in the marina, so you understand this, but a rising tide raises all ships in the harbor. And really what I don't need or want the whole region to subscribe to our coaching. I think that would be incredible. The more the merrier. I think the more the better. We're all on the same page together. We're creating something unlike anything else out there. But when I took my first baseball coaching job, head coaching job, they said, how are you going to take this team that wasn't winning, that wasn't doing well, and make them great? And I said, I'm going to follow like one of the greatest mentors of all time, Jesus Christ did. He picked 12 disciples, and 2,000 years later, what are we still doing?
Right.
We're still following his movement and talking about him. So I said, I want my core 4. I said, I just need 4 of our players to buy into my values and what I'm trying to teach and our vision. And if we can get 4 to buy in, that 4 will multiply. And so we already have way more than 4 here. I mean, it's just been awesome in the first month or 2 here. But you get a couple people to buy in and see that, oh, wow, Dan's not up here just preaching and telling us what we should do. Like, he's actually doing it. And here's how, and he's teaching us how he's doing it. And so I think that's really big with our coaching and the program here at NAF and what we're trying to do. The other thing we're trying to do is we're trying to set ourselves apart from other mortgage companies out there where and Addie Nett is with us. He's such a stud. And he said something so profound the other day. He goes, all I've tried to do with his podcast and his show down in Portland is to create a platform for his realtors to thrive on. And I was like, dude, that's brilliant. We're going to build that out. We're going to continue to build it out for him. But that's my business model with real estate agents. Like, what can I do? I do video. You want to learn video? Let me teach you how to do video. Let me introduce you my video people. Let me introduce you my coach. You want to learn how to do a better listing presentation? Cool. I'm involved in a coaching program. Let me introduce you to one of the top coaches who closes 200 real estate transactions a year. Let's go look at their listing presentation. So creating an environment and a platform for our LOs to thrive on is something that I'm really, really excited about. You're already doing it. The platform's there. That's why I'm back. The operational platform. I don't think there's any better one out there. I've been at a few of them. The culture here is amazing. The platform is great. But let's do something different. Let's really practice what we preach about, this being a modern mortgage advisor.
Yeah. And
let's do this thing. And it involves coaching, accountability, video, content creation. If you're not producing content like you're doing right now, you're going to be forgotten. And you're going to have a hard time going consumer direct here in the next few years, where we all need to be, because the Quickens, the big banks out there, they've got the billions of dollars to go buy the consumers. We got to be in the trenches with our realtors, hitting the consumers before they do.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you brought it up. We touched on it in the last episode when I was interviewing Addie Nett. If you missed that episode, go back and watch it, because look, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. And a commitment that I made to Addie when he joined us is, you think about, what does a mortgage company provide loan officers? Not all of them are building studios and providing this opportunity for content, but this is the way to do it. This is the next generation, I believe, and I know that we're going to have success. I hope other leaders in the mortgage space watch this and say, you know what? We're not doing that today, but we need to. Look, I am a total, if you know me, I'm an abundance mindset guy. Take these ideas and implement them. If you're a manager or a leader, or you just want to be a coach to people within your branch, region, whatever it may be, those words that you said, Dan, I think are great. Get a few disciples who really buy in and can help you, show by example the things that you're doing works. You don't have to have a Dan Keller join your team to provide leadership and coaching and training to your loan officers. You don't have to have a company that's going to provide these things to be able to work with your loan officers to show them how to bring value to their realtors through content and social media and coaching and so on and so forth. So this is really, really good stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to come on today. I know that I'll have you on a future podcast, because you always have so many good ideas, and you work here. So I'll be able to tag you in. You'll hear more from Dan Keller in the future, but thanks for taking the time to watch. Hope you got something great out of this, and until next time, take care.